Pardon, my lord. We're not hearing.
Greetings, greetings. Blessed love. One's hearing me?
Yes, my lord, hearing now.
Hear me now? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you're going Yes, everything is working. Everything is working now. Give thanks. Yeah, so let me go over what I just said. Pardon me, international family, for that hiccup. You don't know. We still go with live streaming, and I mean, we have, yeah. So definitely, what I was basically saying is give thanks, for this moment. Give thanks for His Imperial Majesty Earth Strong. We are definitely back again with another program. And this is, to edify and bring information about, you know, His Imperial Majesty Earth Strong. Now we're going through the season of, celebration, celebration, so to speak. So yes, we definitely have a platform tonight. We have individuals in the studio with us, and we have definitely individuals online that will be participating. the feed was just blessed love, blessed love. Am I being heard? Okay. Just okay, this is from a live stream. So we're back on. Okay. Yes, family, pardon for those hiccups
Technology.
behind the scene technology. So as you know, I continue with the program. Pardon again for those technical difficulties. You know, in live streaming, There are definitely things that can go wrong. And, we have to be mindful of that also. So definitely, I and I here now again, and we will definitely continue. So the organization of Rastafari in unity, His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, Earthly Celebration, from Leech Tafari to global humanity, continuing the journey of justice, unity, and divine purpose. Sunday, 19th, which was yesterday, we had a motorcade, and I would love to say that it was well put off. We had a 1-2 thing setback, but nevertheless, we started around 3:30 around there. We made our way, around the island of Nevis, through the villages in particular also. And it was a very, what must say, picturesque time because I never even known Nevis was developed in such a manner. So I'm telling you, it was beautiful. And the people them that they came out, not in their numbers because I don't know if it was because of a Sunday, but yes, people did come out. We had a 1-2 people that definitely full joy, and I presence in the neighborhood. And it was a moment that I will never forget, give thanks. Today, now we have a panel discussion as you're seeing here right now, and this panel discussion is broadcasting, as you know, on Data U Production in association with Creative One Studios. Now, we give thanks, for the owner of Creative One Studios also, providing this space, which is a very, comfortable and serene space for us to be in, and give thanks that, he can definitely, provide I and I with such space. Tuesday, which is tomorrow, there should be a panel discussion on the radio. I don't think that's gonna happen anymore. So we'll have definitely reschedule that panel discussion for Tuesday. But on Wednesday, we have Nyabingi Isis, and that will be at Higher Heights, Cades Bay, Nevis, and that's supposed to start from 5:30 p.m. Also Thursday, we have from at Gideon Force Farm.
Later on, we're going to be from 5:30. We're going to be up by 9 in the quarter.
Yes.
Up by Colts Farm.
Oh, you like
Yes. So definitely, like the Honorable Regent said, Rasan Kufa, that at Gideon Force Farm, All Road, St. Kitts from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And also at Ivy Life Farm in Sandy Point from 5:30 p.m. until. So you have 2 locations definitely where I and I will be holding Isaac for His Imperial Majesty, and that will be on the Thursday itself. Friday, we will have a Nyabingi Isis Health Fair lunch and lecture, and that will be in the Independence Square Bastille, and that's supposed to start from 12 p.m. midday. On the 25th, Saturday, we'll have sabbatical gathering, and that will also be at Gideon Force Organic Farm, Old Road St. Kitts, and that's also from 3 p.m. Sunday, the 26th, we'll have a Rastafari Fun Day and cultural concert at Ras Phillips Botanical Garden, Tabernacle St. Kitts, and that will be from 11 p.m. So definitely, one's asking, we're asking ones to definitely come out and support these events, especially Sunday the 26th. And also I want to mention, we will definitely have honoring of the elders within I community, within the Rastafari community. And I will definitely be conducting some interviews of some elders. I think we also have an elder from Jamaica that's in our midst. I think he's supposed to be of 81 of age, somewhere up there. So he's definitely, gonna be in attendance also. And like I say, and I will also, try to do some interviews and bring forward, the footage from that event. So once again, definitely see on the YouTube. So yes, for tonight's program now, we definitely have some subtopics that we need to get into for tonight's discussion. We definitely going to be breaking forward the, how His Imperial Majesty, his contribution to I and I here on this plane, what we call Earth, and how he came into existence. So all that we will be bringing forward and presenting. But at this time, I will also love to even present my panel. I can't left the panel undone, so we have to make sure that ones on ones are acquainted with who is gonna be speaking to them. So at this time, I'll ask, the ones in the studio with us here to introduce themselves to the listening and viewing audience.
Give thanks, Elder. Give thanks, Brethren. I is Ras Sankofa Maccabee from the from Tualadi, House of David, from organization of RasTafari Unity, and also from House of Yehuda Musical Foundation. And I come forward to reason on the birth of the mystical youth, which we know that the mystical youth is. And also to continue the reasoning, give also some important factual timing of His Majesty, of important to I and I still. Because so many things His Majesty do, but we took out the ones that we felt as human beings was important for I and I as a gathering, as a congregation, but still also for the general population to have knowledge of these things that come from His Majesty. So that's basically I and I reasoning for tonight.
Bless the Lord, my Lord, Empress, little ones, kings, queens, black prophet. And I
is Honorable Prophet Jalutan. I'm a part of the Ethiopia African Black Congress, Church of True Divine Salvation, here in St. Davis. Yeah, so here on this panel, share like a word of wisdom, knowledge, and
understanding
majesty, the way forward
and contribution to us as a people. Bless the Lord.
Joy and love, give thanks to the family and like to express our joy for the power of the Imperial Majesty. This is the last the first, and to live thanks by my name in last fire from the night, being Tiago and I bring forward RasTafari attribution to our humanity because this is very important. And we see the format of our humanity has been dispersed from the factors of our love for our life within RasTafari. So we'd like to say, give thanks for this format of the organization of RasTafari Unity. So, and as a collective family can be here expressing the works and the deeds of its Imperial Majesty and the birth that unite I and I nation as one. Blessed Lord.
Give thanks, your family, give thanks to the panel. Honorable Ras Iroy, we also have online. I would ask, if I can also introduce myself to the international community and viewing audience.
Blessed love. Give thanks. Yeah, man, give thanks for being here in the panel. And I'm looking forward to a very fruitful, healthy, and edifying, reasoning. It's important that we stop and reflect on His Majesty. So many of us take him for granted. But when we really examine the works of this man, we realize that he's indeed Rastafari is the Almighty. Yeah, man, one perfect love. I'm the chairman of the organization of Rastafari in Unity, or Sinkis Nevis umbrella, Rastafari umbrella organization. And I'm also the chairman of the CRO, the Caribbean Rastafari organization. So, and I looking forward to share in whatever way and to hear from the eyes them and be educated, you know. One perfect love.
Give thanks, Honorable. Give thanks for, even thy contribution. Give thanks him for being a part of this dialogue tonight, where I will be bringing forward some information. So, as it was stated, I will definitely break this down or break this forward into some subtopics. So, one will be the importance of the birth of the mystical youth, His Imperial Majesty RasTafari. And two, we'll have Rastafari contributions to humanity. Three, continuing the journey of justice, unity, and divine purpose. And four, important historical facts about His Imperial Majesty, Dadamawi Haile Selassie I. So yes, tonight we're going to start off reasoning with the Honorable Rassan Kofa, and he will open us up with the importance of the birth of the mystical youth, His Imperial Majesty.
Haile Selassie I.
It's I. And I come forward at this time to speak of none other than the King himself, that divine person, that one where you look into his eyes, you see perfection. That is what a virgin said, when he signed at a young age in a park. And as another reason where, they say that Her Majesty, come forward, and he was in England at this time. He was in England at this time when that person made that comment towards His Majesty. And another one said, when I look at this man, I see someone who is greater than just man also. So when you hear people speak of these things, people who are not even of your own race, you recognize that we're in the right direction. Not because they're not of our race, it's just that transcends to the whole generation of people. And even they that see this greatness in this man's statement. Now, His Majesty was born on July 23rd, 1892. July 23rd, 1892 is basically the birth of the Leo in the mystics of the elements. At this point is when the Sirius star come closest to the earth. So he was able to see it in a kind of, for the ones who was wise. It's like in the Bible, you still have the three wise men, and you still have the star, and the star let them. Similar energy with His Majesty. The star came down low, and then because His Majesty mother now was trying to have babies, and the dragon was always coming after the child. Biblical again, Revelation 12. Decided, a Machanan meaning angel. Even like the archangel protecting this youth is a mystical already. And this lady couldn't get children so easy. She was where you look. I wouldn't even say barren because she was getting pregnant, but she wasn't being able to hold. So a lot of the times them died inside her womb, and I think one or two the youth but they only last a little bit upon the earth, so they never really had full aging. But His Majesty It was different. The pregnancy was rough. McConnell recognized that something plaguing the system still mystical. And he decided that he needed to have a different location. The father sent him an area there, on a hill in Hara, in this place in Ethiopia. And there was a small little hut, but he made his high priest, the different high man in Ethiopia. But also the servants of the system was also present. She tried many things, holding us some of them, but we'll call, they dying on our stomach. So it's like, and some of them, came but never really last any time on the earth to say they live any life. So everybody was a little scared at in a kind of way, but still knowing that Father is in the midst, and was a lot of praying was going on. So while the priest then was there praying, the sister was panting because she was getting ready to have the youth, and the nurses was there to take. And when Makanen was in the other room, and when Makanen heard the baby, he wasn't present right there in front. He was more in a different area, because this is tradition in Ethiopia. He came over to the sister, and right away, that he get blessed with a youth, and the holy youth gave his blessings. And then afterwards, he left the youth with the mother herself. Left from that area, and she went to a different area to actually. It was a mystical opportunity because when you really check it out, she couldn't get no youth. Father blessed her with this particular youth. So that's the first mystical what was going on. And why we say the mystical youth. And the other mystic is 40 days after this, His Majesty would get baptized in the church. It's not a Western Christian church, but they follow the ways of the Messiah. And His Majesty was given a name almost secretly because only certain is usually the mother and the father and the priest would hear the name and that revelation of the name of the youth. And that youth was given the name Haile Selassie at that age. But he never really, he was given the name because he had to document it from early, which means might and power of the Holy Trinity, that is like Father manifesting in flesh. But yet, he's such a little boy, he still would have to grow. So he waited until the coronation is when His Majesty decided to use that name. But in his youthful days, he was already chosen from that point there to actually rule the earth. Because if somebody's going to call it the might and power of the Holy Trinity, that's God is mission. And you have to look at His Majesty growing up now at the age of 1895, which is the Battle of Adwa, where again you see Rome come to invade Ethiopia, to come after that Messianic individual. Biblical again too. These things is Rasta is whoever have these revelations. People read the Bible, but they don't get these revelations what we get from it. Just biblical. It's historical as well as here still. So at this age now, His Majesty was secured by his father because His Majesty father is who went at the head of the battlefield, showing you that His Majesty has a protector, one who's gonna come now and protect him where he come movement, and then he able to now see for himself. That's exactly what he did at the age of 12 now. Just like the Messiah again. 12 when he went in and started to reason high things to the other priests and the other persons in the congregation, in the gathering. His Majesty was introduced as God. His Majesty, Father called him, my son, God. I introduce you with God, my son, RasTafari. That is exactly what he said to the nobles and all the high man that was around. Because this is the time in Ethiopia where a man go from just a young boy stage, well, not from a baby stage into a young boy stage, which they call it a late, which is a young man, you know. So you could see that His Majesty was being trained to come forward as this youth that was gonna break the bands, you know, for I and I. It was already set because even his navel string went underneath a Kosovo tree, which will bring bitterness to you in the taste. What's good for your stomach. You see? So even just to see where the Muslim now, the Muslim is who put this other there. So even our barriers of religion, because it is a Muslim monk, is who took that there and you put it there and you explain to us that these things are documented there on the internet, but they also in the books that His Majesty have. So historically, His Majesty come to give us reprove the world of sin, to make all things known unto I and to comfort I, you know. So I give thanks, you know, and there's many things that His Majesty did. It's supposed to be in a later reasoning, and I don't want to tie up the timing. So I don't know if you want me to reason it now and just give the historical facts, or you would want a next one to reason and we come with more information.
Yes, definitely, we can, do that and come with some more information, because what you already laid down for us is a premise to even like a springboard in for deeper
reason.
You understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, His Majesty, as I said, fulfill biblical prophecy.
Yeah, and he also fulfilled historical prophecy. That's part of INA still. So to continue with the reasoning still then, I would just say that it's more than just a birth of a normal child. Because a normal child at the age of 12 wouldn't have their father introducing them like God. And RasTafari means the young boy to be feared, the feared head. That is what RasTafari means now when he reached to that level. So while His Majesty going forward in life, becoming the child that he's supposed to be, the Romans invading in 1896, this is about 3 to 4 years after, to come after this Messiah, and as I said earlier, his father protected him. Then he was introduced to I at the age of 12. Then in 1916, Her Majesty became regent, which is another, because you have Lich, which is a young boy, which is like a prince, and then you also have emperor, but before you have emperor, you have Negus, which is king. So these are all stages in life that His Majesty went, because he's part of the throne of King David, and King David himself was a king. And if we know the story of Solomon and Sheba, His Majesty is like a greater grandson of that story, which is 3,000 years old, because Menelik, the first Menelik, was the son of Solomon and Sheba. So His Majesty carried that lineage of David, that fierce warrior, and still he could be humble like a lamb at certain times. These were some of the powers of His Imperial Majesty. So when he became, in 1916, when he became regent, is because the Ethiopian throne, like King David throne, only could have been given unto someone of that lineage, of King David lineage, and who believe in the faith. You see? The faith, and even the faith, because remember, it was a new name would be given unto this man. So it's like they would have the Messiah teaching, the teachings of the Messiah, which is going to give you the history of His Imperial Majesty from the lineage of David, Solomon, and Sheba, coming down to the prophets, coming down to the prophecy, and then His Majesty accepting this prophecy, and you know that the ancient pearl coming down to Yahshua Hamashiach, the mother of Yahshua Hamashiach, and then also from the Kebanigas, the light also shining in Ethiopia. So in 1916, they had disputes in Ethiopia. There were many different teachings. You have the local way of life. You have the others trying to invade and bring certain forms of Christianity, but Ethiopia already had a level of that Christianity, as they would call it still. Maybe not by Ethiopia, but that by true translation. Ethiopia already had the oldest form of that, because during the time in the Bible, when you check it out too, there was an Ethiopian eunuch. You see, it was traveling through. You see it? And then this eunuch actually heard them and reading about the Messiah, and he wanted to know more about him. And then he accepted, and since he accepted, this is right after the Messiah. So this was the first church. There was no Chalcedonian Creed, because this is months after the Messiah child. It was none of those things that bring that form of life. They had, and then other emperors and that caused a contention between Majesty and the just. His Majesty and rather than the just. And that's how His Majesty come to get the throne, and that was 1960 of Title and Menelik II. She became empress. So here you have it now. The highest person on the land is a female. So when men are coming saying this and female can do this, can do that in certain religions and what's not, you have to be mindful, because yes, there's certain things that is in the order, especially during menstruation, certain things, certain limitations. But outside of that, there's no other limitation towards and it's not a limitation, it's just a different. So that's the time that she's shedding, she just have to secure herself, just like any other animal, secure herself and make sure she's comfortable within herself. And then she just don't be up and down the place doing all kind of things, because she actually going through a menstruation. But Zaidutu was the one who was put on the throne, and His Majesty as a regent. They call it a planetary network, like meaning that she's gonna rule Ethiopia, and she's gonna just have the title as empress and oversee everything else in the Ethiopia. So when you really check out the history of His Majesty was there with the woman ruling together. And then after a while, the and the nobleman them, was saying that it's best that His Majesty have full control over his regency, full control over his regency. And in order to do that, they had to step from a prince to a king. And this happened on 7th of October 1928. The 2nd of November 1930, Her Majesty was crowned as Kings of Kings, Lords of Lords, I leg of the Most High. And now this is when His Majesty revealed a secret birth, when He actively come now to affect the world with His reasoning, with His power, with His might. This happened at the coronation in 1930, and right before He came, He sent some because Ethiopia used to be under the Egyptian Coptic after a certain time in history, not originally, but at some point she became part of the Coptic. So she wasn't independent fully. So His Majesty sent 6 bishops right before the coronation to go to Egypt, and there was monks to get the teachings that they needed to get, so that they themselves can see themselves as an independent church, because they have a different history than the church in Egypt, So it's like, and they have a longer history of that faith. So we give thanks for all these things of His Majesty. And at the coronation, the whole world was there, because at that time there, only Ethiopia and probably China and Japan had just get their independence back from England. We got to realize India was still, they just got back their independence from England, same way still, because India was a free nation from way back. But there was a time when England came and she made all these colonies. So at the coronation now, all these persons that was representing, like to say, had colonies in Africa, in the East, His Majesty bring them there so that they can see His might and power first, and also and be a witness to all these things that was happening, and also for Him to be able to show the whole earth, because technically now certain persons came from Africa, but a lot of the governors didn't allow the other kings in Africa or other persons in Africa to come coronation, but they themselves make the trek from so far, and they still came, because we're not talking about a time where they had airplane, but mostly used for war. They didn't have much passenger airplane at that time there. So when all these people come, some of them come from, most of them came from ship on board, and all these nations, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, Japan was there as well too. So you can see all these persons that was invading Africa, His Majesty still invite them to the coronation, and as well as the Ethiopians. And there was like a lot of Ethiopians. When the coronation come forward now, all them Ethiopians was dressed in white. And they were saying, "Blessed is He that cometh in the name of." So even from that time, when they say Rasta might have birth in Jamaica, Rasta might birth in a St. Kitts, or wherever they would want to say. But the reality Rasta birth in Ethiopia, because there was even a church established right after His Majesty coronation for the emperor.
Yes, fire.
I give thanks. I will just keep it there for now still.
Yes, I. No, it was definitely, a load of information, being, this far dispersed upon I and I. And it's something that I and I can, unpack, into different segments of what Bridging was definitely bringing forward, because as we know, the importance and the significance of His Imperial Majesty birth, change, historical events in earth. He was here to make certain, amendments to different things that was taking place. So we give thanks, for His Imperial Majesty and, what He actually did, for I and I as a people. Like it said in the scriptures, He shall be born, the Prince of Peace, the government shall be upon this man's shoulders. So we give thanks. Anyone else in the panel would love to add anything to what my Lord was saying shortly and quickly about the birth?
And I would just like to add what the brothers and cover outline in a level of the mystical of the birth. And give thanks for the great power of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie the First. That mystical of the birth is the aspect of where he is able to Ali who have been miscarriage. Brother Sam Kofa emphasized about what Makanen had to take. He is able to outskirt of Hara in Issachawa. And that in itself, where the monks were able to approach him. Yeah, Ras Makanen and let him know. For your child to be able to survive, you have to take him to outskirt of Hara. Because get him out of is able to get out of Addis, because they were at their ghetto state only. And his carriage was very delicate to her at but this moment they were able to relate within the scripture that we said, Second Chronicles, that said on the same day, the same month, on the 23rd day. So in itself, that in itself fulfilled the full mystical word that it like His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie as the power of the whole like Trinity. And it was said that the name was given by the birth of the eye to that line lineage.
Give thanks now for His Imperial Majesty Emperor. One of the mystic what I know fulfilled in His Majesty when he was coming is when His Majesty before His Majesty birth there was a 7 years a drought.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There was no water fall, no rain was falling, and that bird going into the Judah, I mean, manifesting, fulfilling a certain constellation. In the name of going into the Judah, we can start bust out, I mean, January share significance of the water sign, coming to from the Pisces time into the equinox, and also His Majesty, like He bring forth like life, water represent life, and you see after 7 years of drought and coming in with water, bringing forth life, and was it's like water after a point of thirst, so His Majesty is just deeper than just how we see Him as a fleshly man, but His spiritual level is cosmic. He connect with the cosmic, it's a connection, that really come and fulfill during that time. It's not just a fleshy person born, but is life itself, it's a rebirth of life, and to us, redemption by as a people, that water coming into this giant and giant world.
So at the day I say with the water is that mystical light in the universe that corresponds with the cosmos of the birth of the Majesty Haile Selassie. No scientist could have found that light even when it shine. So when they test that moment, they give more remnants of the fear of what Ethiopia was going through of that job.
Yes, sir. RasTafari.
Yes, I definitely. Yeah, there is some definite facts. You know what I mean? That definitely had to bring. You know, that's why we say, in with him over Shanti, 7 months off for 1 month.
Mhm.
You know, what a mighty God we serve.
Mhm.
Because I may have some piece of it, and another angel might have another piece of it, and we all put that together, and you see a complete, picture. You know what I mean? So I will ask anyone on the panel, Ras Roy, Prophet El Kaya, if you have any, thing to add, you could definitely, open your mics, open your cameras, and definitely, give an input towards the discussion or the reasoning at this time. Yeah, you can feel free.
Yes, I give thanks. Yeah, but not much more to add in terms of the historical background. It's quite clear. But just for I to, to recognize the importance of such a man, I too would have heard of his coming and the drought and all of that, and ended by showers of rain and the blessings. But for I to have developed and now living a lifestyle based on such a significant man, a significant being, that in itself is mystical. Because even throughout history, you would have seen how, different ways of life, different spirituality, how they come about and how they're treated. But when it comes to Rastafari, it is centered and pivoted around His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie. So, his birth was definitely fitting in this time. Whether it's from a biblical or historical standpoint, the birth of His Majesty was and is definitely an eye opener for I and I, an answer for I and I, a point of liberation for I and I as a people and as Rastafari. Give thanks.
Yes, Honorable, well said and well summed up. Yeah, said no, nothing else needs to be added to that. The Virgin definitely came and sealed it with, his word sound. So, and I give thanks to Ras Iroy, from the higher heights. No, I realize farm. One love, pardon me, Honorable, from One Love, and that contribution definitely, was definitely valid. Most I, yeah, Rastafari. Yeah. So before I go on, just asking the listening audience, the viewing audience, make sure you subscribe, like, share this content. Make sure it go far and wide, because we here definitely to spread the message, edify our community, uplift the meditation. And as you know, when you tuned in to that you production, your vision will definitely be elevated. So yes, let's continue with the reasoning, and we'll move forward with the second topic for tonight's reasoning. So the second topic is Rastafari contributions to humanity. We basically kind of touch some of the word sound, for what my Lord Honorable Sankofa was saying. And so Rastafari contributions to humanity. My Lord.
Give thanks to the high priest, Jamaica, for the layout of what we are now going into the second format of the discussion.
And I would like to state basically, it's a great joy
I find like to sit here and reason and becomes of the birth of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I.
And I will just like to emphasize
Say that speech that was played by His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie, and the speech is played at it. Also, the beginning
civilization of each country
last in time, the fundamental factors that give an impetus each nation to
and embark on the road
progress to reach their present level of development are those qualities
which
which
enshrined in the nature of
man, namely
desire
and fortitude. Let no one forge that Africa differed from no other
people in the world.
They love those that love them, dislike those that whom they are dislike and are jealous
guardians of their freedom. And
the reason why I bring out that words out because we are really looking at Rastafari, its contribution to humanity.
And that in itself give you a pitch.
We are laying the foundation level why we must be able to protect humanity in its form of rights, equality, and
so basically, I and I here we just
like to say, from His Majesty Haile Selassie I, the works that he have laid out in the justice call for humanity away, have impact where he
from a youth age laying out the
whisper of the birth.
He
give you the
outline
of his child for speech
and social awareness. And
I realize from how these works have been pursued within His Majesty relative to humanity, it go within education.
And the education of the formality have
been described by His Majesty from even of him changing the revise of the Constitution of Ethiopia. It brings status to how to be respected and others within its
capacity as a nation. And in its
own self, we go further beyond that laying out of that representation to the human development and progress.
So, and that layout
of His Majesty's development to and as Rastafari, we have seen it now permeate from I elders who have laid the foundation.
But I are now sitting on to expound of that work
within the nation of Rastafari to contribute to humanity.
So I won't be
at long into but I would just like to share these small things that we have seen experience of the Jamaican farmers
because
we are saying from the attribution of humanity. We have seen the Howard organization.
We have seen the Bobo Shanti
movements within Prince Emmanuel and the Nayabingiti Akasiada, where we have seen even from
and the
other movements of Rastafari in Jamaica, where he has found furtherly on the field of within the Caribbean region
globally to the
world. So in that sense of it, that is showing on that I as Rastafari
a great
light to human development. And we must not be deterred from that light that is shed.
From that holy essence, not just in the
1930s, because I'm going to emphasize it. These are records that have been outlined before
even 1930.
It's just I know have seen the repetition to live these words and speak the action of it. That I
must be able to thanks
for these historical farmer that were laid in ancient from that holy masters of the Ethiopia.
And that is where we
must be able to give that essence of where we say the contribution of Rastafari based with it, not from just from the 1930s,
ancient time, because we are
from that time to this time and to 5. So we give thanks.
Yes, Ras. I give thanks him for even the highlighting the contributions of His Imperial Majesty to humanity, because he came for I and I as a people, to offer justice, liberty, and life, for I and I, who was in captive. 1834, they say was emancipation. And, emancipation brought about a few things after that where we wasn't really completely free, you know what I mean? And even ones don't know, like even the political independence that, they celebrate, is through the impetus of His Imperial Majesty taking back, colonial possessions that these individuals, like my Lord named out earlier, these colonial masters, quote unquote, are thieves, who came and captured here and said they discovered here. And yeah, but His Majesty, like I say, came now with that political mindset to capture. Ghana was the first, in 1957 it was, 6th of March. Yeah, and that's when the red, gold, and green with the black 5-point star, rose, mimicking the same red, gold, and green in Ethiopia, which is a mistake. The first African colony, and then after that, you can see where other colonies fell, even up until even in the 90s. Ones and ones were starting to become politically independent from their slave masters, quote unquote. And like I said, that is due to His Imperial Majesty, the organization, the OAU, Organization of African Unity, that he opened in 1963, and like I'm saying, those are the contributions, the significant contributions he made for I and I, which is humanity, So we give thanks, man. We can never, ever, ever not give thanks for His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie first, because he's a great, 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 power that came to this earth, So we give thanks. Anyone want to add anything, my Lord, to what he said?
I would just add, I think that it was very important. His Majesty played the role of that peacekeeper. A lot of us, during the time of the Organization of African Unity, His Majesty, look at how much persons before that there was free. His Imperial Majesty Empire is last, and in Karmi works behind the scenes even before they started the Organization of African Unity. They had a conference the first conference was in Ghana.
Yes, okay.
You see? So, and it was years after they had the second conference in 1963 in Ethiopia. So there was, and then when His Majesty did become part of did set the Organization of African Unity. He set himself as the peacekeeper. So there was many times His Majesty, there was a time actually when Morocco, and I think it was Algeria, was in a heated battle. The man, they fly His Majesty in the middle of the war in a helicopter, meet them, the two leaders, them had to come with him and force them to shake hands. And then if you see the picture, because they have some picture footage of this thing, video, if you see how the man are going with His Majesty, how the Arabs, how they love His Majesty. because His Majesty made peace, and that wasn't the only time His Majesty made peace. He made peace with a lot of African nations. So if you are like a man like His Majesty now, he's around, but he's like we can't see him. So it's harder for him to accomplish some of these things, but to the power of the Most High, if it's the will of Father. But just to show you how far His Majesty went in the middle of the battlefield to win. Stop them can't do that. Netanyahu them can't even move too far from with it. Only to America he could go. But His Majesty could have gone anywhere in Africa. And within a short period of time, from since His Majesty coronated in 1930, you start to see all these free nations start popping up in Ethiopia. You have Liberia, you have Sierra Leone, then you start to see Ghana. Then after Ghana, between 1957 and 1962, it ended up to be 32 nations. So you see the powers of emperor and the other African leaders. The fact that they were able to, because by the time they came in 1932 and 1963, it's 32 of them. But before His Majesty was coronated, it's only Ethiopia, and I think they tried to do a reconstructed state in a Sierra Leone where they send back some US persons to run the country. So we see that His Majesty, all these things, it show you clearly that His Majesty was for humanity, and He was for bringing people together, and He was with peace and love. He was only a warlord when He had to defend the nation.
And it was the answer to Africa's need at that particular time. Africa did need it, that redemptive struggle. Yes, sir. From the hands of the colonial master. Because remember these colonies was falling one by one by one by one. You know what I mean? There was exactly. Talk to me.
Yeah, what I admire most about His Majesty, him.
As a young youth coming up, first hearing about His Imperial Majesty, and I first say about him, I went and look up some pictures. And when I see him, something in him, his uprightness. It's turned out he's done
Any crowd
and he always upright. And I always question, how come he always upright? And you check the work of him. It's uprightness. And if you understand how the Kundalini runs through your spine, when you tune with the cosmos and all living things, that's why he is upright. Even when you look at the things in Egypt, the pyramids them and all these uprightness. You look at the trees, you look at the mountain, it's uprightness. So that's why you say him could have, if anyone could have put him to bring forth any form of peace, as I said, the peacekeeper. Yeah, he always know what to do. Yeah, most times.
That's it.
Right. Yes, family. Yeah, man, give thanks. You're hearing the information, as we say, not from the capital's mouth, but from the lion's mouth. Because when the lion tell his own glory, his own story, it definitely will be painted different. So we give thanks, for hearing it from Rastafari itself. You know what I mean? Because the man say, not to look out of yourself. When you see one, you see the Almighty. Yeah? So Rastafari is moving through all I and I at this present time.
He could never die. It's a way of life within its own. So he could never move away.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man, very important, very important. Like I say, to the listening audience, make sure you sub, like, you understand. Sub to this channel is definitely not hard. They have a button right there, circular, white, that says subscribe. It's easy to hit, free, no charge for that, basically. And make sure you share this content with individuals, because we here not only for I and I selves. We're not here for the elders. I and I main focus is the youths of tomorrow. And when we share the content, it goes far and wide. You understand me? When these ones strolling through, they would see something of positivity that them can click onto and also gain knowledge. You understand me? That they actually didn't know before. So yes, we give thanks, for, and as the time is swiftly moving, I and I will continue with the list of things that we have to reason upon, subtopics. Number 3 is continuing the journey of justice, unity, and divine purpose. Yes, Honorable? Yeah,
Yes. Bless your love.
That?
Yeah. Asking, give thanks to all energy coming in, receiving, and energy, and positive energy. Mozart, Selassie, Jah, yeah, man. Continuing the journey of justice, unity, and divine purpose. Bless the Lord. Greeting to one another, kings and queens, and our prophet and priests, who honor the earth, kings and queens, princes and princesses. I give thanks for life, for the opportunity to reason upon the continuing of the journey of justice, unity, and divine purpose. This setting is a deep and spiritual heading, where he's bringing forth the makeup of His Majesty, showing humbleness, love, and divine purpose. Justice is a form
of righteous living, love, and unity in one God.
Justice is the pillar upon which the RasTafari movement stands. Quality and justice stand for. From in the early days, RasTafari challenges colonial oppression, neo-colonial discrimination, racial discrimination,
Economic exploitation, and denial of African dignity.
or elders stood firmly when it was unpopular, proclaiming African unity poses a divine heritage and should never be ashamed of who they are. Self-love, knowing oneself.
Today, the struggle continues in
different forms. We are, I and I witness globally, internationally, poverty, violence, environmental destruction, food insecurity, and social inequity. Continue journey means
confronting these issues with
wisdom, compassion, courage, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and tolerance. Justice is not only about demanding our rights, it is also about fulfilling our responsibilities here as a being. Requires honesty in dealing, fairness,
and compassion towards vulnerable and accountability before Jah.
RasTafari. As Prophet Amos declared, let judgment run down as water and righteousness mighty stream. Meaning, we shall do good, Justice is not occasionally. It should flow continually.
Our homes, our community,
a nation, our school, our streets, and within.
the strength is the oneness.
Self-love. His Imperial Majesty continually emphasized the importance
of unity.
even when he went to Jamaica and he let it organize, centralize, one of his well-known teaching states, until the philosophy
hold one way superior and
another inferior
finally
is finally and permanently discredited
abandoned everywhere is war.
is war.
These
These
ways
words remain relevant.
with the
The RasTafari movement is blessed with different mansion, and that's
I and I as a people
you know playing certain different
role as a being
in different ways and in different practice.
Where
We have the
order of Rastafari,
Rastafari, and you have Nyabingi order of Rastafari,
tribe of Israel, and others.
others. While each has its own tradition,
Expression
we all acknowledge His Imperial Emperor Selassie the First.
seek righteousness of salvation.
Our divinity should strengthen rather than
Divide us,
meaning all of it, just like a tree, we are a tree,
and their
their
roots,
roots, branches, leaf, fruits.
but it's one
One tree performing different duties to hold. It's also extended beyond Rastafari. We are called to
alongside all people
people of goodwill who seek justice, peace, and
dignity.
that is what Rastafari did.
As a people.
Deep contribution.
And
And as
Psalms 132 reminds us,
behold, how good and pleasant it is
brethren and sistren
to dwell in perfect unity.
in fulfilling
That, you know,
masculine and feminine in the
coronation. It is Imperial Majesty.
Empress Mene. Unity
Unity is not weakness. Unity is strength, guided by wisdom, knowledge,
and understanding.
divine purpose, living, calling,
And Rastafari.
not just calling on Rastafari, but calling on His,
but emphasizing his goodwill
you know,
from within and the balance of love and
and love for humanity.
Our
Our purpose
is to discover through faithful
for living,
living,
fire, discipline, service of
and continue to
learn and share.
Part of the mystical youth symbolize renewal
Renewal. Every generation receive a sacred response
to continue the mission entrusted to
then to who came before us. Our youth
inherit only our
are
story.
story. They must inherit our values with
We should teach them
them weapons for the Most High,
respect for elders, love for African heritage,
heritage,
self-reliance,
self-resilience, agriculture,
production, education, and wisdom.
service to humanity. A nation without prepared youth,
secure its youth
future. I spoke in Proverbs 20,
said,
train up a child in the way she go, and it shall not depart from it. You know,
knowing which way to
raise up a child is what is just read, advance, teach and reverence for the Most High.
respect elders, love for African
African heritage,
self-reliance,
self-reliance,
agriculture,
agriculture and food security,
education, and wisdom. So
service to humanity. I've said it all. Continue the journey today.
the question before us is simple. How do we continue
Continue the journey. Continue by
living honestly with one another,
protecting creation, respect Mother Nature in our way,
supporting
supporting local food production, strengthening,
is preserving
preserving our culture heritage, mentoring young people, promoting education
and to education of ourselves,
ourselves, of I and I
so
story,
caring,
caring for the poor and vulnerable,
and when we say caring for the
for the
poor,
poor. I mean just going have no money, but
poor in spirit, poor in heart,
walking humbly before
Rastafari,
Rastafari,
tolerance,
tolerance,
seek knowledge, wisdom,
wisdom, and understanding.
These
These are not merely religious duties, they are expression of
purposes. When our faith
our faith
becomes
become visible through our action.
Rastafari
Rastafari continues to inspire.
humanity. A message
A message to the youth, to the young people present today. Do not allow Babylon to define your
know your history, know your culture.
culture.
We
You have to know our purpose, our development.
and talent. Respect
Respect your parents,
respect
respect your elders,
educate yourself, seek knowledge, serve
serve your communities, work with integrity,
self-love, carrying
carrying forward the banner
righteousness
righteousness with the confidence.
Rastafari
Rastafari is not only preserving tradition,
in living them every day.
justice without unity cannot endure.
Unity without
Without
purpose,
purpose cannot flourish.
purpose
Purpose
Jah
cannot succeed.
let
Let us continue our safe
journey together,
guided by truth, strength, by love. Anchor in
teaching of His Imperial Majesty
and become an example in our daily
living.
in community before places and peace. Children
hope instead of despair.
despair.
Walk
Walk within Rastafari and continue to contribute in your uplift.
humanity. I live.
I live with the word of
He has shown
show us thee, a man, what is good and what does,
the Lord required thee.
but to do
Just
justly and to love
to walk humble
with thy God. And with it, I leave this word unto I and I,
people,
I and I black, blacks and goddess.
kings and queens. He has
He has showed thee a man
what is good and what does
does
our
our Lord require
but to do justly
justly and to love, mercy, walk
with thy God's
and goddess of the earth.
What did he
What
say?
did he say?
We are
I shall see
God in us
and also in others,
and also to
also to be humble, merciful,
you know,
peace, love, most last.
Rastafari.
All right, perfect love.
Yes, our fit.
Done.
Give thanks for the eye. Even, highlighting what is unity, justice, for I and I, you know what I mean? Because as we know, we've been dealt with unjustly, and we have not been compensated for the injustice that was meted out to us as a people. So there's where the scale is still tipped in the slave master's favor, and that equality is not for I and I to be, say, well, like them, because we don't want to be like them, because the man has created us peculiar, So we definitely stand out. And that's why we come in unison, like minds think alike. like individuals come together. You know, so we give thanks for this umbrella organization of the ORU Rastafari, Organization of Rastafari in Unity. You know, here in the St. Kitts and Nevis Federation, that is gelling I and bringing I with purpose. You know, because there's where the purpose come in. You understand? We have to have a reason why we coming together. We have to have a purpose why we coming together. And we all has been here now stating the reason why we coming together. Is to edify and bring, you know, a change of mindset in the populace. What we're seeing basically coming forward from individuals. You know what I mean? That's supposed to be, as we just say, we grown, man and woman. You know what I mean? So yeah. I would like to also read something here when it comes to unity and what His Imperial Majesty say. Unity is the only accepted goal, full stop. Ain't nothing else to add to that. Unity is the only accepted goal, and he said that at the UNIA. That's actually a quotation from the whole speech. That wasn't all he said. Today we look to the future calmly, confidently, and courageously. We look to the vision of an Africa not merely free, but united. In facing this new challenge, we can take comfort and encouragement from the lessons of the past. We know that there are differences amongst us. Africans enjoy different culture, distinctive values, special attributes. But we also know that unity can be and has been attained among men of the most desperate origins, that differences of race, of religion, of culture, of tradition are no insuperable obstacle to the coming together of people. History teaches us that unity is strength and cautions us to submerge and overcome our differences in the quest for common goal. To strive with all our combined strength for the path of true African brotherhood, and I would add sisterhood and unity. And that was His Imperial Majesty at the OAU also in 1963. We have seen anyone on the panel that if they have any thing to add to this level of reasoning right now, can freely do so at this time, my Lord and Empress.
I pretty.
Yes, sir.
Another thing I really fascinate with Brother Prophet Jalutan.
This struggle.
You see, because
This struggle is something very impactful to go.
and in the name of the Rastafari,
Right. And the moment of the elders spoke with him,
identifying highly
Haile Selassie and the Ghanaian king. They were charged against them. Remember, they were
the yoke of the colonial power.
so it's emphasizing the deliberation.
Colonialism and neocolonialism were a factor against Rastafari and Africa.
True.
So in that aspect, he outlined
where
I know seeing a different light now,
and where we forebear was them,
but they're not able to face it in that terrible time.
just to acknowledge
The great divine, it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy because the words what they
When they
speak,
speak,
they had to
they had to be even
go
go far
from
from
is a man still come at them. to
to deny them of
speaking
speaking those words.
even though we went to the high seals of the region,
Yeah.
we
We were still captured by what?
forced
The
the
forces of Babylon
to
to
tell
tell
us
us that we should not be able to emphasize
that
the name of His Imperial Majesty. So,
I've just made a few comments here that we have on the chat. Root, Burnett, Steel, 9760. So, Kadamawe Haile Selassie proclaimed to the League of Nations that international morality is at stake, meaning that it was lacking within world governance. His Imperial Majesty would introduce morality to the world, governance, which is so true, and I like to give thanks for that. That really good. So also, anyone on the panel have any contributions? So, they're free at this time. RasTafari, and we add you to the stage.
Yes, I give thanks. Just a couple of things. The volume is not the best. So
Okay.
time it goes very, very soft. I think a few people have commented about it. However, I too would like to just make a little words because we would have seen where His Majesty made that move when he went to the League of Nations. When he took it to the highest order, seeking justice for his people, because he even commented about of what should I tell my people, in respect to justice and morality. So he definitely made his move and made it known where he stands when it comes to justice. Because he couldn't leave us today to ask the question, well, why didn't he take it to the so-called highest court of the land then? You know? And when it comes to unity, virgin and sister, I see as we stand today, unity is definitely the accepted goal. And CRO has embraced that. And I would like to make it clear, for ones and ones around the region. We need to, whether you become a full member or you associate yourself with CRO and its mission right now, because if we do not truly live unity, we can talk about it, but when we look at our actions as Rastafari, once we can live unity, everything and anything is achievable. His Majesty promised I that. And I would have seen it. Look at the works that Rastafari would have been engaged in over the years. I can speak to St. Nevis. Most of our great achievements has come since we have become such a unified body, and we can see where unity would, unity most of the time has numbers. And so it definitely creates a stir within any political system, anything. People come together and speak of, it definitely creates some attention. And the works of His Majesty wasn't just the past, it is today. It's here with us because I and I are children of His Majesty. And I have brought ourselves into Rastafari to continue the work of His Majesty. So even the works we are doing today, even now, with German, I find the people and I liberating I and I successes and successors. These are the works of His Majesty. Yeah, man, one love.
Thanks. Tell me something. Are you hearing me a bit better now? Is the volume up a bit more?
It's okay. A lot of it seems to be when the other panelists are talking, not you, the host. It seems mostly when the other panelists. But I has a echo. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for the feedback.
So my mic is not up.
Yes. Yes, family. So there you had it. Give thanks, RasTafari, for that contribution. Give thanks for I and I coming together, like RasTafari say, that opportunity to become a member, is definitely there, on the table, for ones and ones in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Don't stand off, on the side. You know what I mean? You can't be effectively making change while you're standing on the side watching the change happen. So you have to jump in order to make the change happen, and ones and ones have a tendency to fear, but the acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. You understand me? So make sure you don't get caught in fear. We don't have no room for fear.
Good point.
You understand? So come forward, because we need the strength in numbers. Yes, Honorable. Does anyone have anything to add?
Oh, you got to use the mic.
Oh, yeah, to use this. Yeah, give thanks for life, When I look at unity, as it come from when you look at a unit have different parts where you got to connect. Connection. Unity is a small word, but it emphasizes globally wide. Unity without justice, cannot prosper. To unite, one needs justice, and also have to have self-justice. First, you have to have justice because, unity can be coming together. Bunch of people come together, but not one accord. Like, as we say, well, they having something downtown and a whole heap of people come together. Like a group of people is not unit. So when we look at as Rasta look at you begins internal. We start with I. You know what I mean? That you first part of unit. We have to have a love within oneself and a justice for oneself. You know what I mean? Because when you have that, you're gonna know how to deal with others. You know what I mean? Therefore, deal with others like how you are yourself. You know what I mean? Equality and the justice. And then when we come now, if all of we now come together with equality, unit, as His Majesty said, organize, centralize, come as one. That is unity. As we as an organized group, an organized body. We have the RasTafari, Naya Bengiada, that's an organized group. We have RasTafari, that's an organization. You know what I mean? And organization come together in whatever way, whether black group or whatever, whether not RasTafari and all. When we come together in oneness, already organized within oneself. One destiny. It's a great work. And the man say, so we have a freedom, international, and redemption. So we have to free. We have to free ourselves. That's the part.
Just bring your concern, Your Majesty. RasTafari. When His Majesty went up by the League of the Nations, His Majesty say he come to claim justice for his people. You see? So directly, that's an important part of the justice that His Majesty, was bringing forward to the nations. because everything has a purpose. You see it? And when His Majesty went to the United Nations, one of the main things he went was to claim justice for his people, and the righteous cause. Because wherever His Majesty, being a man of right, everything that he did was for a righteous cause. So that was an important form of justice that His Majesty bring onto the earth, same way still too. So I will always remember that. That was June 30th, 1936, where he bring the message. And he bring a judgment unto them mandate too, because a little while after His Majesty speak, he spoke in 1936 at the Geneva, and then he also went back again to Geneva to speak in 1938, and at that point they know His Majesty bring the judgment unto them, because he tell them, man, they still is us today and it's gonna be you tomorrow. And then that's when Germany dropped the bomb on Poland, and that's when they started with the World War II, 1938. Right after Her Majesty make the speech at the League of Nations, and they didn't listen to His Majesty. And then if you don't bow to the accomplished facts, you see it, these things will befall Europe. You see it? So the reality that His Majesty was the one that come forward to make all these possibilities happen, all these things, and he had to destroy the ways and the thinking of the Europeans towards Africans. So it wasn't just seeking for physical justice, it was for moral justice, as the sisters rightfully say. And that was a good utterance, who would say still. And he was also for spiritual, justice. So I give thanks. That's the only strength I could give to the body reasoning. Very powerful, very strong. But His Majesty going to seek that justice for I, and then being able to actually manifest it. You see, because when he came back in 1941 and was able to free up Ethiopia, it was just justice again going on there too, because that was the right thing to happen. Because the Ethiopians didn't do anything wrong. They was invaded without a cause, because it's in 1928 His Majesty made actually they signed a memorandum of understanding, a treaty with Rome. And 7 years later, the man chop along, tell me why man not do this thing. Where they come in a room, sign up big paperwork, and they while in their mind they have all these plans to come against the people. Them say just the paperwork is just a way to make you feel like everything all right, and then they just come, boom, start to bomb you up. So we seeing the same thing happen in Gaza. We seeing the same thing happen in Iran. So where man will come with these fake declarations, acting like they really care about stopping the war, and then right afterwards, in the middle of signing something, boom, you see this happen. And they did the same thing to the emperor. But the emperor came with the justice. And that's why he was able to win the war. Because he is who he is. He's the peacemaker, Yeah, he's the holy comforter, the Prince of Peace, Yeah, light up this world. All these things were given unto His Majesty. Might and power, the Holy Trinity, elect of the Most High. So many titles. I even have another list of titles here that he had in the system as well. Because His Majesty never stepped foot in a college to be a student. But yet, he have all the degrees them that college could give you. That's the mistake. Because the people them gave him degrees still. You know, they call them honorary degrees. And there's a list of them coming from places in Africa, coming from places in Europe, coming from places in India, which is Asia. So all four corners of the earth, the man they gave His Majesty these high degrees. A lot of them came from the United States as well too. So all these things, His Majesty just bring justice unto the earth because of who He is, you know, the light of the world, you know. Yeah. Give thanks for Kadamari Haile Selassie, the first, the might and power of the Holy Trinity. This is a revelation that is specially only to Rastafari, because in 1966, His Majesty also claimed justice for his people in Jamaica, because in 1963 there was this real slaughter of Rastas in Jamaica, and they had a mission that went to Ethiopia before that, and then there was a mission that went after that in 1964. And they asked His Majesty to come forward and help them with these situations that were going on in Jamaica, and was asking them if there's any other way that they could come over and have a reparations. So Rastafari is whoever who first talk about reparations, and is we first talk about repatriation. Because we hardly used to speak about reparations without the concept of repatriation. Now His Majesty tell us organize and centralize. Some man don't really have it in their heart, and they find that they say it's not necessary. But when it come like a natural disaster, ain't gonna be much time to think, you know. It's just gonna come a time where it's a time to move. You see it? So, you know, we just have to wait until that time come forward and live according to how Father wants us to live, even here in the West. He did tell us to organize and centralize, but it's still important to consider reparations and repatriation. No, it's not good enough for I and I to just be comfortable in the West, knowing that the West gonna crumble and the West gonna fall. And Father say, when African righteous people come together, the world will come together. Hear that energy there, you know? Our emperor taught these things. So we have to remember these things. Africa is part of this. As we will say, Alkibolan. Because we can't find the Alkibolan levels right now. You know, Alkibolan, you see it, is the place where life starts, and is gonna always be that place. Nothing could take that away from it. Because it don't happen. You see it? So you just have to continue and believe that Father had a place set aside for I and I. You see it? We call it Mount Zion. It's a secret place with Him and those who even came before and was not still. But like it is in Zion, it is upon earth. And that's why He set Ethiopia and put the Ark of the Covenant in Ethiopia to replicate Zion upon the earth. So we have no other place to go to still, see me still. It's a man's choice. There's many parts in Africa. But His Majesty directly even put aside land for us in 1955 in Shashamane. So we give thanks for His Majesty being the first African leader to actually put aside lands for I and I still here.
That's
In,
humanity again.
you know, so, and justice.
And justice.
Give thanks, Ras. Sankofa, I delivered splendidly. There's a real batsman saying it, you know. So, that's what I'm telling you. We had the crease away, giving up nothing. I'm telling the man. So, yes, I. So, we have Prophet El Kaya saying we want to make input into the reasoning. Honorable, give thanks for joining.
Give thanks. Holy Manuel I Selassie I Jah.
Rastafari.
Give thanks to all the panelists. Strong reasoning, powerful reasoning. I think it's significant in these times when all around us is crumbling and there's lots of hope and faith in Rastafari. At least I and I could bring back that kind of energy to the people who out there pondering if they should let go or hold on. You know, and the reason about around His Majesty, I think is timely also, because that's the only strong savior. That's our refuge in times of trouble. You know, we have to call upon him. But my contribution is towards the entire reason, both three topics I could sum up in one. The mystical youth, you know, growing up as a Rasta is all about Rastafari, Haile Selassie as a youth coming up. Even the mystics of how we read about His Majesty as a youth, that shows us that there's a God in I, and him say, look inside us for God, you know, and we find him in us because he is us and we is him, and he teaches us to live according to his laws and his attributes and everything, you know. And touching on the Rastafari contribution to humanity, you know, all the speakers them spoke eloquently about Africa, other regions, but let's not forget His Majesty never forget I and I in this part of the earth still. Him come and look for us, you see, and that's a very, very strong contribution to me towards Rastafari, you see, because he come this part of the earth where we be to see fresh, to check it out, and him put a bond between us and Ethiopia, shows we are blood. You see, so that's an important part again of Rastafari contribution to humanity, you know, and in part of the continuation of the justice, unity, and divine purpose. That is a journey we know say you go continue. It would never be completed because generation gonna come, generation going. This to be a journey, ever living journey, and it's I and I to set the roots now, instill it in I and I children, instill it in I and I family and a community. The divine purpose of I and I, because the divine purpose is basically how we see our God in I and I. Is it? Because divine purpose is how we were created, what we were created to do. Yeah, man must know what the calling is, calling are. You see it as a people. Justice, you know, is not just because of laws, but justice is more about a spiritual growth, you know, because you have to find justice within yourself too. You can walk upright, you know. Justice is an uprightness. You check it out. You can have an inclination towards justice, but you know, each generation have to receive their own responsibilities too, and carry on the works of wisdom, humanity, and faith. You know, is only one king we here to honor, you know, His Imperial Majesty. And if we are king there, we have to recommit ourselves. You check it out to the teachings, the laws, the precepts, the judgment, all of these of Rastafari. We have to recommit ourselves and working in unity now. That's where the purpose of I and I as a group, as a body, because as Honorable Prophet Luton says, we are branches, trees, but only one God. That's the only thing we that's the only significance, the only balance between I and I. That's the only thing we could say, but we have in common. We carry locks, yes, all of us carry locks, carry beard, but one thing we have in common is Haile Selassie, the force as our Godhead. And that's the most important thing to carry us through this unity. You know, all I will listen via this platform to know say unite because this is the time, this is the judgment time. You check. These are as some will say, there's not a better time like this to be around.
Yeah.
Because we see where Rastafari making inroads in this earth. We see where Rastafari making a way, you know, clearer than even 10, 20 years ago. A Rastafari time. So let's stay focused, stay committed, renew our vows, you know, live clean, live righteous with one another, love one another, and stay firm.
Yes, sir.
But give thanks for the reason upon His His Majesty. I think we shouldn't even take this reason as just a sit down talk. It's a powerful reason we have tonight. Powerful reason, my lord.
So give thanks.
Just my blessing upon the reason still, you know. I'm blessed all the prayer. Give thanks.
Yes, hello.
Yes, thanks. RasTafari. Give thanks to the Honorable Prophet El Kaya. That was definitely, input, that was of substance. We give thanks that the I, come forward with such eloquence and delivering, with such might, Um, yeah, there are many, many, many of I and I, within the faith, as I say, of diverse, you know, persuasions, but we give thanks that I and I can sit down, and as my Lord just say, and even come in unison. You know what I mean? Time is kind of running swiftly. Like right now, we're heading to the 2 hour mark at this live presentation. It's actually 2 hours right now. And basically, I would say the fourth point, the importance of the historical fact about His Imperial Majesty, Ganamawe Haile Selassie. We kind of tend to have covered that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to touch quickly on it, and we could wrap up after that.
Okay, I was there at coronation, and then in 1931 is when he actually he promulgated the Constitution. As I touched on that as well too. And within that Constitution, His Majesty said something that was very important. He said the person of the emperor is sacred.
Yes.
You see it? So then you could see the heights and the level that mean nobody else could have come to sit upon the throne after Her Majesty. Because it's like there wouldn't be nobody sacred like His Majesty in righteousness upon the earth. You see it? So even though his son was put as heir to the throne, His Majesty also knew that nobody else would step upon the throne because it would not seal the prophecy right if that had happened. You see it? So we give thanks. I will just mention some other facts and historical facts about His Majesty. Because even though we got a constitution in 1931, we had to revise the constitution. His Majesty revised the constitution in 1955. And that same year, he gave us a land grant too for those who coming from the West. It wasn't just Rasta, you see it? It was just for any person who coming from the West wanted to return back to Ethiopia and settle, you know. And we know Robinson was one who actually went even before 1955, because he was a pilot and His Majesty needed his assistance. And he answered the call and he stayed there for a while. So we give thanks for them and the same still too. We give thanks for the Ethiopian World Federation. We give thanks for the United Negro Improvement Association, because Marcus Garvey did tell us to look to the east for the coming of a king. Whether it was a script he was reading from a book or wherever, it's still a prophecy because the king manifests himself afterwards. And that was clear to see it was a direct prophecy. So we give thanks for all these things, and we give thanks for the consciousness of Rasta. Because if it wasn't for Rasta, my father might have just done the place, because it's where keep the fire burning, because nobody else keeping the fire burning. Nobody else keeping the fire burning. When Babylon gather, they gather in with 10,000 people. But when Rasta gather, we only gather in with maybe 50 people. You see it, let me say 100. It's just like Gideon. Father sent 20,000 of them and to the river. But it's only a handful of people His Majesty wanted to go with Gideon, because he didn't want Gideon to feel like it's because of the people that we win the war. It was because of the Most High. So Rastas is like them kind of man, they like Gideon them. It's gonna always be a few. When we have recession, them is gonna always be not as much as Babylon things, because people like wickedness, people like slackness and them things there. But the real people, the special, the peculiar people, which is I and I, Father, give us a blessing to just do the right things and teach it to the nation. And we have to continue in that vein there. So I give thanks for the reasoning tonight. Give thanks for the budgets and everybody who was on the panel. We give thanks for the reasoning and everything was smooth and nice. And I think the delivery was pretty good for most of I and I here. I would say that all of I and I still, the delivery was good, so and the message that we bring forward was good and the topics was well chosen. So we give thanks for all who played a role in this. We give thanks for the whole of the ORU. We give thanks for Elder Ira. We give thanks a lot to Empress Shelley. I thought I would hear the female name voice, but I guess that might be a different panel at another time. But for sure, we give thanks for this whole reasoning. So, brethren, we did a great job, and we have to continue in this work. Don't just have it as a YouTube. I think sometimes we could go around and edify our own people on the radio station, them at times too, because they need a strength, So we give thanks in the name of the Father, his son Yahshua Emmanuel, the Messiah, and Emperor Haile Selassie the First, Kadamawe Haile Selassie, might and power of the Holy Trinity. That's all time.
Yes, Sankofa, you have said a lot. Timing reason, Yeah, but I will like just say words of love, God is love, Love hang a lot and profit all come on, Most last,
Yes, give thanks for the family again, and I would like to emphasize for all our elders who have played the critical passage for our entire year. Emphasize greatly bringing out the great words of his imperialism and the divine works and his purpose to to celebrate his 124th life. I like to say for the RasTafari community organization of RasTafari Unity. Let us keep the work going because these are the essence of our future generation. The things that we realize that there are much coordinates to INI's unity and must put that burner of INI love the other says. And from what we know, the one before INI always put that aspect. Show love to the world. Give thanks for the family and may 100 like being redemption to all African women. Blessed love.
Yes, family, give thanks. Yes, and there you had it. I want to commend each and every panelist, Rasta and Kofa, give thanks. Honorable Prophet Luchan, Rastaya, give thanks. Online, we have Prophet El Kaya, give thanks, my Lord. And Ras Iroy, we do give thanks for all contributions, even, the ones them online itself, on the platform and the chat. We do give thanks for each and every contribution. Before I end, I want to just reiterate the Strong of Celebration, Organization of Rastafari in Unity, His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, Earth Strong or Earthly Celebrations, from Liege to Farai to global humanity, continuing the journey of justice, unity, and divine purpose. Like I say, yesterday we had a motorcade. Today you're viewing A Word to the Wise podcast brought to you by Data U Production and here at Creative One Studios. Tomorrow's panel discussion will be postponed till a later date. Wednesday the 22nd, we have Naya Bingi Isis at Higher Heights Farm, Cades Bay, Nevis, and that will be from 5:30 p.m., so don't forget that. Come on out, Nevis people, and support that. Thursday, down here in St. Kitts at Gideon Force Organic Farm, Old Road, St. Kitts, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Make sure you come on out and support that initiative also. Also, the Irie Life Farm, Sandy Point, St. Kitts, 5:30 until. You don't know the ISIS, definitely go 3 nights and we don't stop until the sun rise. So we give thanks for that. Yes, Friday we also have a rally featuring the Nyabingi ISIS, a health fair, lunch and lecture. And also I will be out there, fundraising and doing some selling of our I goods. Saturday the 25th, you don't know that sabbatical. So we have a sabbatical gathering and that will be at Gideon Force Organic Farm, Old Road. And that's from 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And then Sunday will cumulate everything with a Rastafari Fun Day and cultural concert at Ras Phillips Botanical Garden, and that's in Tabernacle, St. Kitts, and that will be from 11 p.m. And we'll definitely be also honoring our elders when it comes to that. Now, if you're new to streaming or you're looking to level up your streaming game, make sure to check out this StreamYard. Yeah, it's very, very good for I. And if you definitely click the link in the description, you would get a $10 discount. I tell you, you can't beat that right now. So give thanks for StreamYard. Give thanks even for this, connection that, he's definitely bringing, you know what I mean, I to the world. Make sure to subscribe. Like I said, it's no cost whatsoever. Free of charge. One of the things that you definitely can pick up. Free. Make sure you subscribe. Share this wonderful, content. Make sure it go far and wide. Comments are definitely welcome. And I would definitely give thanks for I studio time here at Creative One Studio. And with that, I will definitely block a closing prayer and close off.
Before you block the closing prayer, just want to emphasize on the 24th of July from 2001, and I RasTafari community indicate that we highlight International Black Women's Day as the 24th of July. We will always use this as reminisce to honor mothers or redemption to the Rastafari African. Women play a critical role in developing our nation. Must respect the attribution. Blessed love.
Yes, I give thanks for that. And yeah, the woman is definitely not missed. Yeah, like the man say, woman of right, is goddess in flesh. And he also taught us to put the woman up front. You know what I mean? As when you go to a bar, who you see? The woman them up front, right? Put the woman up front. So we give thanks for that piece of information, Rasaya. And like I say, at this time, I will definitely close off with a closing prayer. Holy Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari, our glory be unto the Father, unto the Son, unto the Holy One, the Holy Woman of creation. As Jah was in the beginning, is now and never shall be. So we hail our God, Selassie, Jehovah God, Rastafari, our Almighty God, Rastafari, great and terrible God, Rastafari is the Almighty God. Jah, who seated in Zion and reigned in hearts of our flesh, our the most high eternal Father, Jehovah God, Rastafari. Hear us and bless us, O Lord. Keep us and sanctify us all, and cause thy holy face to shine upon us, thy children, so that we shall be saved and redeemed. O the most high God, Jah, Rastafari. Yes, my Lord and Empress, this has been Data U Production with another A Word to the Wise podcast. And I want to give thanks for each and every one. Black Main Lion, Blessed love to all the Rastafari brethren on the panel today. Give thanks, my Lord, for the high contribution at this final time. So, yes. So definitely keep it locked. Make sure, like I say, subscribe. And this is that of your production. And we give thanks, my Lord.
Perfect
Bless
love
you,
and
Lord.
honor to the family
Yeah.
of Rastafari.
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 Black Rock.